Okay, so have you ever seen those movies
Mm-hmm.
where, like, the hero has that
Yeah, yes.
super awesome armored car
Right.
that can just outrun bullets and explosions?
Totally.
I always thought it was,
Yeah.
like, that's Hollywood magic, right?
Yeah.
But
Pure fantasy.
it turns out reality's catching up.
Absolutely.
Because today,
Yeah.
we are diving into
Okay.
the world of the Lucid Air Sapphire.
All right.
It's an electric car that's basically a fortress on wheels.
Really? I mean, what's so fascinating about this is it's not just like some stripped down,
Right.
bare bones security car.
Right.
This is the Lucid Air Sapphire we're talking about.
Yeah.
This thing goes 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, that's faster than some people can say internal combustion engine.
Right.
Like, it's a luxury EV that's already top of the line. And then someone said, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's add some armor plating.
Okay, so you're saying this isn't just like
No.
your like typical add-on package.
No, not at all.
This
Right.
is serious stuff.
But when we say armor plating, it's not
It's
like...
a really armored player.
So like a little bit.
Yeah.
The AutoBlog article I was reading said this thing is bulletproof, grenade resistant.
Oh, wow.
I think they're basically trying to market it as like a luxury safe room on wheels.
And the price tag definitely reflects that we're talking like $475,000
Oh my goodness.
starting price.
Okay, this is...
So this is not for the everyday person.
No, this is for like heads of state, CEOs, maybe a few A-list celebrities who are really serious about their privacy.
Right, because if you can afford this car, you probably don't need to worry about like your car payment.
Exactly.
But it does make you wonder, like, do they offer like a complimentary chauffeur with that?
Right.
Someone who can like
Who can handle this thing?
navigate a high-speed chase and then like parallel park this tank.
Right.
I mean, car.
Exactly.
Speaking of tanks, how much does all that armor even weigh?
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining this thing needs like its own zip code.
That's what I was thinking too, but surprisingly, they've managed to keep the weight relatively manageable,
Okay.
and it's all thanks to some pretty cutting-edge material science.
Okay.
The armor is reportedly made from a material that is 10 times stronger than steel,
Wow.
but 5 times lighter.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
How is that even possible?
It's
10 times stronger and 5 times lighter.
I know it sounds like something out of a superhero movie,
Yeah.
but they've only added about 385 pounds to the car,
Okay.
which, considering the level of protection, is pretty remarkable.
So my brain is like short-circuiting a little.
Yeah.
10 times stronger, 5 times lighter.
I know, it's mind-blowing.
This is like Tony Stark level
Right.
technology here.
Absolutely.
What does that even mean for the future of armor if you can get that kind of strength-to-weight ratio?
It's huge. I mean, think about the possibilities for like aerospace, for personal protective gear, like law enforcement or the military.
Yeah.
If this material lives up to the hype, it could revolutionize entire industries.
It's like we're talking about science fiction becoming reality here.
I know, it's incredible.
But then again, this whole car feels like it's straight out of a spy film.
It totally does.
Remember that quote from like our second source that we had?
Yeah, yeah.
It's all very James Bond.
very James Bond.
And it's not just the bulletproof glass.
No.
No. This car takes it to a whole other level with the technology they packed into it.
Oh, absolutely. What we're seeing here is like a perfect example of how physical and digital security
Okay.
are becoming like increasingly intertwined.
So walk me through this, because Electrek was talking about how this car has more digital defenses than Fort Knox.
It's really quite something.
They mentioned something about like internet and Wi-Fi security data scanners that are pulling from like a million sources.
It's incredible.
It's like having a mobile war room, but instead of generals, it's like algorithms keeping you safe.
Exactly. It's like having a digital security detail with you at all times.
Wow. See, it's like they crammed every single like
Yeah.
futuristic idea they could find into one car.
Yeah, it really is like a showcase of cutting-edge tech, and then they were like, oh yeah, and let's make it bulletproof.
Right. It's kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've got this like insane speed and performance and then all this armor and tech.
It's electric.
Right. Like it's trying to save the planet while also being ready to like outrun a hail of gunfire.
Exactly. It's like they checked off every box on the futuristic bingo card.
Okay. But let's be real for a second.
Sure.
When I read about those like electric shock door handles and the pepper spray dispensers,
Yeah.
I can't help but think like, is this really necessary?
It does seem a little extreme.
It's like straight out of a Bond villain's playbook, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it highlights a key aspect of this whole thing.
Okay, what's that?
It's not just about reacting to threats. It's about anticipating them staying one step ahead.
Which I guess when you think about who could actually afford this car,
Right.
makes sense.
These are people who are constantly in the public eye dealing with sensitive information,
Right.
high-stakes decisions. Their security needs are on a whole other level.
It's like their whole life is a risk assessment.
In a way, yeah. And as those lines between the physical and digital worlds keep blurring, those security needs are just going to get more complex.
And that's where all this tech comes in, right?
Exactly like those data scanners they mentioned.
Yeah, the ones that pull from like a million sources.
It's incredible. Imagine being able to anticipate traffic disruptions, potential security risks,
Wow.
even weather events, all before they even happen.
So it's like having a sixth sense?
Kind of, but instead of spooky vibes, it's algorithms giving you the inside scoop.
I do have to wonder, though, about the potential downsides.
Oh, absolutely. There are always two sides to every coin.
Like, what happens if all that information falls into the wrong hands?
Right. Or if the system itself gets hacked.
That's a scary thought.
It is, and it really highlights the double-edged sword of all this technological advancement we're seeing.
We gain these incredible capabilities, but we also open ourselves up to new vulnerabilities.
It's a trade-off we're going to have to grapple with more and more as technology keeps evolving at this pace.
No doubt. But let's bring it back to the car for a sec. Is this really the future of luxury transportation?
Yeah. Is this a sign of things to come?
Or is it more of a niche thing for like the super paranoid few?
I mean, I don't think we'll all be driving bulletproof EVs anytime soon, especially given the price tag.
Yeah, good point.
But I do think it gives us a glimpse into what's possible.
How so?
As electric vehicle technology becomes more mainstream, we can expect to see more specialization, more customization.
Right, like tailoring cars to specific needs and desires.
Exactly. And for some people, those desires might just include bulletproof windows.
And pepper spray dispensers.
Hey, if you've got that kind of money to throw around, why not?
True enough. But even beyond the wow factor of this car,
Yeah.
there's something about it that feels like a turning point.
Okay, I see what you mean.
It's like it's making us ask bigger questions about the world we're creating.
Absolutely. It challenges our assumptions about what a car can be, what security even means in this day and age.
And how far we're willing to push technology to achieve those things.
Especially in the pursuit of safety and luxury.
It's almost poetic in a way.
Or maybe that's just the gearhead in you getting sentimental.
Maybe. But either way, you can't deny that this car is a fascinating case study
Oh, for sure.
in the intersection of innovation and, well, extravagance.
Extravagance with a side of paranoia, perhaps.
Touché. But speaking of extravagance, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room.
All right, let's talk about the price.
$475,000 is a lot of dough for any car.
It's a hefty price tag, even for a car that comes with its own personal panic room.
Right. And it really puts things into perspective.
It does.
When we talk about the future of security, like we are, it's important to ask ourselves, security for whom?
Exactly, because not everyone can afford to roll around in their own personal armored bubble.
It highlights the divide between those who have access to this kind of technology and those who don't.
And that's a conversation that goes way beyond just luxury vehicles.
That's true.
As technology becomes more powerful, more invasive, more essential to our daily lives,
Yeah.
we need to be mindful of who benefits from those advancements and who gets left behind.
It's a big question for sure.
It is, and
Right.
it's one that probably doesn't have an easy answer.
But hey, that's what these deep dives are for.
Lisa?
To get us thinking, to challenge our perspectives, and maybe even spark some healthy debate along the way. So we spent all this time talking about this car, right?
Yeah, the Lucid Air Sapphire.
Like it's a rolling contradiction in some ways. It's like a symbol of wealth and anxiety at the same time.
I see what you mean.
And it's a technological marvel, but it also kind of makes you ask more questions than it answers.
It definitely makes you think about the direction we're headed in.
Exactly. And I think that's the most interesting part of this whole thing.
The bigger implication.
Yeah, like it's not just a car. It's like this reflection of where we are as a society.
It really is. You've got the anxieties about security and privacy.
Right.
The drive for innovation and technology.
That blurring of the digital and physical worlds you were talking about earlier.
It's all there, wrapped up in this one very expensive, very armored package.
So is this a sign of things to come?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Are we all going to be driving around in bulletproof bubbles, constantly scanning for threats, real or imagined?
I mean, I don't think we'll see armored EVs on every street corner anytime soon.
Especially not with that price tag.
Right, but some of the technology we see here,
Yeah.
It could trickle down to the mainstream eventually.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, think about those cybersecurity features, for example.
Okay, yeah, the data protection and threat detection.
What if every car, even a standard electric car, came equipped with that level of digital security?
So your car becomes like this digital fortress around you.
Exactly, protecting you and your data as you go about your day.
That's kind of cool when you put it like that.
It's an interesting concept, but it also brings up a whole new set of issues.
Like what?
Well, who has access to all that data? How is it being used? What happens if it gets hacked?
Okay, yeah, those are some pretty big questions.
Questions we need to be thinking about now before this kind of tech becomes ubiquitous.
Because once it's out there, there's no putting it back in the box.
Exactly.
Well, I think this deep dive has given us a lot to chew on.
It certainly has.
The Lucid Air Sapphire might seem like a niche product,
Yeah, just a toy for the super rich.
but it really makes you think about the future of technology and how it's going to shape our world.
It's a reminder that innovation can come from unexpected places.
And that sometimes the most extravagant ideas can spark some really important conversations.
Absolutely.
Well said. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
Keep those brains buzzing.